Hello, I'm Sam Moses, CEO of RetailOps. We are focused on intelligent operations and software for retail businesses. Today with me, I've got Stacie Sefton with BHFO, one of our customers, has been a longtime customer of ours, and we're going to talk a little bit about their experience with RetailOps and how their business has evolved over time.
Hi, and I'm Stacie Sefton, and I'm the CEO and founder of BHFO. BHFO is an online e-tailer selling on marketplaces. We sell clothing, designer fashion, shoes, and pretty much anything you can find in your closet.
Awesome. So we're going to start off kind of going to the very beginning, Stacie. Tell me a little bit about your origin story. How'd you guys get started in the closet in the first place?
Yeah, so we started back in 2003 out of our home. We were looking for a way to create a business that my husband and I could own and operate and grow to expand jobs in the Cedar Rapids area. So we were really interested in e-commerce. eBay was just sort of at its intro, and we started to do some research and found some books that we purchased on eBay on how to grow or build $1 million business on eBay. And we spent like a $400 investment to get that book, and we couldn't put the book down. And we ended up trying some of the methodologies in that book. And today, after almost 16 years, we're a $40 million company with 130 employees.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that it's been 16 years. Time flies when you're having fun, right?
Hasn't it? Yeah.
So you started out literally in the kitchen.
In the basement.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. And then from there, like when was your first decision point that it's like, okay, we got to move out of the house and actually get a different place to operate out of?
Yeah, so in order to do that, I needed more help. It was myself and about 2 employees, and we were operating out of the house, which isn't, our house was, it pretty much took over the house. We had mannequins in every room and clothing. We had ramps going from our garage down into our basement, so the trucks came. And so in order to do that, we needed to run the numbers and do a certain amount of revenue, obviously, to be able to move out of the house to then be able to expand and bring more employees in. So we weren't able to grow without more people. So we ended up having that conversation with my husband, John, quitting his job because he was still working full time for another company at the time. So once we ran the numbers and ran the what if scenarios, we took the chance and rented, it was about a 2,000 square foot office space nearby. And just took that leap of faith.
That's awesome. That's always the scary part. It's like first time you're ready to jump off and actually put more skin in the game. Obviously it's blood, sweat, and tears in the beginning, but then it's that leap of faith that gets made to get there.
Yeah, and we're numbers people, so it's just like, how could this not work? Like running all the what ifs, and for us it was just it was a big step for him to quit his job, and people thinking he's quitting an executive job to go sell on eBay, like, really? But we kind of knew what we were doing, so
that makes sense. And so it was primarily just eBay. You guys didn't sell in any other marketplaces or e-commerce?
Back at that time, there really wasn't. I don't know how many other marketplaces there really were back in 2003.
I'm trying to think. 2003, I was still with Dr. J's at the time. There were, eBay was it, and then prior to that with Red Envelope, it was Yahoo Shopping was kind of it. Yeah. And there was no other real options. Those were more for branded experiences and retailers. So marketplace wasn't really a big thing yet. Yep. That's great. So you started out, you're in a 2,000 square foot warehouse now. You've got 10 employees or less, like 5 to 10?
Probably 10.
And then there was a decision to be made to kind of automate maybe a little bit more and move into another facility. I'm sure you guys outgrew that.
Yep. So then in that little area mall, there was some warehouse space.
Okay.
Within walking distance. So I don't know, it was probably, I can't even remember how many square feet, maybe 5,000 more, roughly. So we ended up expanding and ran our warehouse out of there. Still no automation. Right. We ran on ChannelAdvisor at the time.
When did you engage with ChannelAdvisor? Was that?
Probably 2006-ish,
Okay.
maybe. We used Visio. There's a few different on delay. And then they shut down, and we went through, it's probably right around 2006,
Okay.
I think 2005, 2006 that we integrated with ChandlerVisor. And then, but that's really the only automation. We didn't have barcodes or anything back then. So it was a very, very manual process.
How did you find product? You thinking way back to that painful time, like how did you find product in that, 5,000, 6,000 square foot space?
I don't even remember. I just remember when we did year-end physical inventory count, I was the only one that knew the inventory because I was the buyer. And so we didn't have anything barcoded. So I literally remember lane like 1231 every year, being there alone. John might have been there as well,
A little bit, but
like laying in the warehouse floor at 3:00 in the morning talking to my accountant. Like, it was crazy. So a lot has changed from those times.
So then you guys did eventually grow into actually buying a warehouse management software. Was that the first kind of piece of big software outside of ChandlerVisor that you guys engaged with, or was it more listing management that you started with?
Where we created our own?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did some internal custom development that integrated with ChandlerVisor. And then
so that was the first real endeavor into software that you got a little bit heavier in.
Yep.
And how did you find out, or did you hire engineers to do that yourself, or what was that engagement like to find someone to build a little more automation for listing product into ChandlerVisor?
It was tough because there weren't a lot of people that understood our industry.
Sure.
I mean, eBay was pretty new, and the scale of our business was pretty new, and the challenges with apparel. I mean, it was all brand new, so there wasn't a lot out there, but wanted to look for something a little bit more robust on the warehouse management side, and that's where we were introduced to you. We had a few different companies that we were interviewing at the time, and I'm
trying to think back. Whenever we got introduced, you guys were using another software system though for warehouse management.
Yes. Scout.
That's right. So you did do a WMS there.
That was just kind of a temporary fill until we knew, to buy some time to really look.
Because you guys had two warehouses side by side at that point, right? You're consolidating inventory or orders across the two.
Yep, we had inbound in one and outbound and processing in another one.
That's right.
So,
okay. And so, do you remember roughly how long you guys used Scout for? Was that like a 1 year?
Probably a year.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. And so then the decision to kind of transition, you guys were looking at that point, like how do we solve this warehouse management challenge, as well as potentially the listing side.
Yep.
Kind of outgrowing what you were doing before. What other systems did you guys look at, or did you find much out there at that time? This was in what, 2014,
13, yeah. There still weren't a lot of systems out there. And specifically trying to think which other ones we were looking at. I can't remember the names of them, but there weren't a whole lot of companies out there. I mean, there were big, public companies that did little pieces of the different areas that we needed, but not one company that could encompass all and that really understood our business model and the retail, e-commerce, and the closeout model, and how you fit that all together and sell in marketplace, and all the strategies and all the just different types of conditions that the clothing comes in, or any product that you're selling, whether it be new, refurbished, customer returns, etc. It was just
systems think about a SKU as being one style, size of a thing, where you guys have that SKU maybe in different conditions.
Exactly.
Because it's secondary product.
Right.
In a lot of cases.
And then, just the processing is the efficiency, and, looking at the cost per touch, so that, when we're selling liquidated, closeout inventory at an outlet price online, how to be able to process that efficiently to, still give us margin when it goes out the door. So
instead of buying, thousands of one unit of inventory,
Right.
you're buying, onesie twosie items. And
Right.
you go through the same process of taking pictures and
Yep. So finding a
listing
way to
all the details
streamline
about
that to make it, still keep the margin in there. You're not always going to have, there's some product that we have deep SKU of, but the majority of our business was what you call hash. So
Right.
we're in and out, could be one SKU of something. So,
So I recall actually meeting with John. It was the last day of that Channel Advisor trade show. It was the first show that I think we had gone to, and he just happened to be looking at the last vendors last day. They were breaking down the booths, and he just grabbed one of the pamphlets that we had on the desk. He said, "Oh, you guys do all this stuff? I'll have to give you a call."
Is that how we found? Is that
Yeah.
how we? Okay,
Which was kind of a crazy one. And then he called up after he got back, and I said, "Do you guys really do this stuff?"
He said that.
Yeah, and we kind of got through it, and I think that's where the connection got made.
Started.
That we had built the system around another company that was very similar in profile in the closeout marketplace business. So I think that was kind of where the fit really kind of resonated specifically for BHFO.
Yeah, because we're unique, and we're probably not as unique now, but back then it was a unique business model.
Absolutely.
So,
there still aren't a lot of people that do it, and they certainly don't do it as well as you guys do.
Well, thank you.
But one of the interesting things I remember is my background was in retail traditional, where you're buying deeper levels of inventory, but we still had a lot of volatility in the catalogs that we managed. So we were doing at Dr. J's, it was live model shoots was kind of the thing for us. It was really important for that lifestyle experience to get people to see, oh, this is what it looks like on a person.
Yep.
So you're selling kind of the swagger in addition to the product. And I remember that our peaks, since the focus was on this really wide assortment, so we would buy all of the brand styles they were coming out with every season. And so we had about 80 brands on the platform that kind of predated RetailOps. And the challenge was at our peaks doing 200 new styles of product per day on the website on live model shoots. We had live models that were on staff and just rotated through it.
Yeah.
And so that same flow kind of resonated in terms of what I saw in BHFO. I was like, yeah, this makes sense to us. Although you guys are doing it at a totally different scale and level from that perspective too.
But we weren't doing live models either.
We weren't doing live models. It's a little bit of a different beast. Although wrestling a mannequin sometimes is a little bit harder than somebody just putting something on.
Yes.
So the other part that I do remember, and this is probably not for the video itself, but I remember that the initial probably 3 days that we spent in the conference room kind of whiteboarding and talking through all the different business challenges that you guys had. I remember you guys were using ShipStation at the time, right? I remember you guys had somewhere on the order of 20, it was like 20 shippers on a shift. It was somewhere in that ballpark.
Probably. 15,
I remember
20.
touring the facility and seeing, the folks on that shift. Was like, holy smokes, there's a lot of people shipping every day. But they were also doing so much hand data entry and fixing of addresses and all this stuff. There was not only did you have the labor intensity on the import and the ingesting side of creating SKUs and product data, but then you also had it on the outbound side. It was like, okay, I've got the picking. I remember seeing the waves. They go grab the items, put it on that garment on hanger, racking. That was kind of the staging area, and then you'd re-pick it to order, and then you'd have the shippers actually go through and do the shipping part.
Yeah, it was pretty manual,
but it worked.
It worked.
Got you where you needed to go. And the other thing that and I don't know if we could probably pull some metrics at some point, but take a look at the accuracy rate. I'm assuming probably increased as well. I know you guys had a really solid manual process, so you did the checks and balances to make sure the customer got what they received or what they ordered.
But we spent a lot of time trying to locate items that may have been lost or misplaced, or because we wanted to make sure to get the customer the correct item. But if you have a picker that's picking the wrong item because they're not required to verify it with a scan, it can be anywhere in the warehouse. So you're literally going through rows and rows of double stacked clothing, garment on hanger, trying to find a black dress amongst
all of the other items,
thousands and thousands of items. And you trying to make sure you can get that out the door within, at that time it was like 48 hours, but today it's 24. So
So time that it takes for the customer to place an order on eBay or whatever the channel you guys are selling in, to the time it's got to be out your warehouse door is roughly 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And today you guys are running, so you started out obviously from the house in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
How large is the facility that you guys operate today?
Today we're in 250,000 square feet facility. Yeah, 10,000 square feet of offices, and the rest of it is all warehouse.
Gotcha.
So yeah, back in the day when we first started, I went to Walmart and bought plastic tubs. The tubs, the drawers.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's what we stored our product in.
Oh my goodness.
Write little labels on there, and that was our picking process.
And so you guys made a decision, in your tenure with RetailOps to automate even further, right? You guys being really focused on crunching numbers and making sure that you're making smart decisions as you grow in the business. You made a decision at some point to actually engage with a warehouse automation goods demand system. Tell me a little bit about that decision and why you made that decision and what that did for the business.
Yeah, so we made that decision when we moved to this facility, from the two warehouse facility to the 250,000 square foot facility. At the same time, the marketplaces were just rolling out these requirements to ship within 24 hours. So if you wanted to maintain your top rated seller status on eBay, you had to ship within 24 hours, or with Amazon, we had to ship out to be Prime, or even I think we were doing some FBA at that time, but it had to be a very strategically planned as how you're going to get that product at the door. If you're doing 3,000 orders, or if you have a day where you're doing 7,000 orders. So when we moved out to the new facility, we did a lot of planning in advance on how to use that space and how to automate the warehouse to be able to meet those goals. And so we looked at several different systems and ended up with Perfect Pick, which is a robotic goods demand picking system that's vertical. So it's sort of like Kiva, where it's the robotic system, but it's a totes floor to almost to our ceiling, so we're maximizing the space in our facility. So we have basically it's just for apparel. We don't put like bulky items like heavy coats or prom dresses or shoes in it, but it's mainly for our smaller items that we after the process, after the goods get to the sellable process to where the catalog item is created, they go into the Perfect Pick, and then when the sale is or when the customer orders the product, the Perfect Pick will then bring those goods to the picker. Back in the old facility, when we had the automated, or we were still using RetailOps, but we just had garment on hanger, where we'd actually have to walk the aisles and physically push ladders and get up and down. So here the robots will bring the goods right to our staff.
Which decreases obviously the labor side, right? You don't have people walking around, thousands of square feet of space trying to grab that one particular unit that's in the back. You have the tote coming to the front for the one person just to pick and put directly into the bin. Right.
So we're able to get our pick done now in about 4 hours in a day, and then that gives us time then to get the packaging done. So the pick is done in about half the time, with an increased number of orders as well from before the implementation. And we can run 2 or 3 picks during a day now instead of just trying to get one out the door. So yeah, it really reduced that picking labor immensely, and the amount of errors that we have as well.
And there's other automation that you guys have put in place too. Like, what are some other things that you've automated in the warehouse?
We've put in automatic baggers. So both the outbound baggers, so on the packaging line, all of our product go down a conveyor, an automated conveyor, and then we have 2 large baggers at the end where the poly mailers just automatically seal and bag the product. We have the inbound baggers as well, so it basically seals the product. We buy a lot of apparel that may have been out on the floor. Store stock doesn't come with us in a sealed poly mailer. So we have that automation. We have some automation with just some photography as well that we've built, and looking at some other softwares that we've integrated with.
Gotcha.
So,
And how have you had to engage with, and I know that, I'm obviously working from a little bit of internal knowledge with RetailOps for supporting some of those automations. I'm assuming that with a lot of software systems, it's a little bit of a challenge because you get what you get and that's it.
Yep.
What did you need from RetailOps to support some of this automation that you've done?
So RetailOps was a huge help in helping us get the perfect pick integrated, because it wasn't just the WMS. It was integration in helping to write those programs with the perfect picked software companies, not just bought one, but there were a couple, to get that automation working seamlessly. So they were a huge help in just really being hands-on and knowing what our timelines were, and we being held to that timeline. For that integration, it went just as smooth as when we integrated with RetailOps. We didn't think when we first, it's kind of going back to when we converted from our old provide WMS to RetailOps. Like, I remember telling you, there's no way we can get it done in that. Like, all of us, our CFO, everybody was just like, you guys are going to come out for 3 days and we're going to get this done. There's no way. Like, prove it. And wow. Yeah, it was very little downtime, and you guys understood the importance of staying live and getting it done in a timely manner, and you were confident too. So it was very impressive.
I'll never forget that one too. This is towards the tail end of our initial kind of whiteboard sessions.
Yeah,
I remember Tom posed the question. He was the one that fielded it. I don't know if that was by design, but I remember he asked, we have a pretty short timeline to work with here. How long is it going to take you to get live? And I told him it'll be 90 days. He said,
no way.
You're nuts. He looked at me straight in the face and said, you're nuts. I said, well, we could do it in 90 days. And I'll never also forget so we came on site, we did the 3 days, we did all the configuration, and we got on site and kind of tuned everything up while we were actually going live, which was a grueling 3 days, no doubt.
Oh yeah.
But whenever you're moving an operation that size, it does take quite a bit of work to make sure that it's done right. And staying on afterwards. And I remember I had to catch a flight out, and Tom caught me on the way out, and he shook my hand and said, I knew that you said 90 days, but I didn't think you'd actually hit it. He said, I'm going to keep my eye on you. It was funny.
Because this wasn't our first rodeo going through this, and so we kind of knew what to expect. And that's really what gave us the confidence in RetailOps, is proving that, not just with the initial integration, but then again with the moving out to the new facility, and then with the integration with Perfect Pick. That was a big job.
I feel like it's a little bit of a testament to the focus on direct consumer retail. You do have unique needs in that space. A lot of traditional systems don't really fit that need, and it's hard to pinpoint what exactly it is. It's that there's so many small moving parts that are extremely important to the efficiency that is your bottom line. Oh yeah. If you have to throw more labor at a particular problem and it's a workaround, it's going to cost you a lot of money, and a lot of times in retail you don't have the luxury of having that margin. So
and just being able to customize, on certain features that we need to implement into helping us be more efficient has been a great piece of
a constant evolution. It's never perfect, that's for sure. Anything else you could think of that would be relevant to somebody else that's trying to make a decision on a system? What are the things that you feel like most people maybe overlook when shopping for software? Other maybe retailers that you've talked with or kind of compared notes with over time?
Just the customizable piece of it.
Is it a flexible platform for you to do what you need to do?
Service. Making sure that, in the time that we've been with RetailOps, that might be a good one to talk about. What's the downtime? Sure. Because that's really important. And I don't think we've ever
Yeah, so being a software that is software as a service, it's not on premise, and you've got your operational reality. You have 130 some odd employees at this point, day in and day out. Have you had any issues or concerns? I mean, obviously concerns, but have you had any issues with downtime or unavailability of your workforce?
Yeah, that was a big piece. I know that was a big question we talked about when we made the decision to go with RetailOps, because with 100, I think at that time we even had more employees. We were able to streamline.
I think you did.
And we now have 130, but it's still, if the software is not live, we have 100 people that use it that are standing around with nothing to do. So they're in the 6 years that we've been with RetailOps. There's been, I can count on my hand the times that we've been out, and there's only been maybe one time that it's been where it's been maybe over an hour. And I can't even remember when that was. So that there is really important to a business, to our size, and to be able to have a partner to be able to depend on. And if there is an issue, first thing in the morning, we run our picks at 6:30 in the morning, and if something's not working, it's 4:30 RetailOps time. There's somebody over here that's going to be up and ready to help us. So by the time we get our staff in, we're able to get that back on track for the day. So the service piece of it has been, nothing's always perfect, but with all the companies that we have worked with, it's been very reliable software.
Yeah, the operational realities are are very real. And you think about staffing at that level too. It's like, man, 1 hour of labor for that workforce is material.
Right.
And when you're talking about kind of holiday season too, obviously you guys have a pretty significant ramp during the peak season. Would you say that you had a good performance? Have you seen it? Have you noticed a significant difference in how the software works or anything like that whenever you do get busy
during
versus non-busy seasons?
No.
That's good.
I haven't, but I'm not the one. but I hear about all the, anytime there's an issue, I usually hear about it.
When we first went live, I remember the first, like literally in those 3 days that we were on site doing the actual transition, we had some media transcoding issues. That was kind of early days for the media transcoding, which was taking your entire catalog of images and putting them into all the different sizes that you need to actually push to Channel Advisor and other places. I remember that one that stood out to me as a painful one, but we fixed that. Don't have any more issues.
So no, all around, that's a big one, is service, being live.
So kind of key points for other folks that are shopping for systems: kind of service, support, availability, flexibility of the platform. Like if someone were to come to you and say, hey Stacie, I've got an e-commerce site. I'm growing. I've got 5 different systems I'm working with right now. What should I be looking at other than those items? Is there anything else that comes to mind that's important for that person to think about?
If somebody were to come up to me off the street and say, what kinds of things did you look for in a partner when you were looking for RetailOps, I would advise them to make sure that they know your business and they can customize to your business when you have changing, and needs are always changing in your business, and make sure that they always have your best interests, which would, they're always live, the downtime, and monitoring that, because if a system is down for, depending on how many employees you have, but even if it's just a handful, that's downtime where you're not being productive. So it's really important that they're a company that can have a very good handle on the amount of time that they're down, and if there are issues that come up, that they're willing to make sure to get you back up live as soon as possible.
Makes sense. You guys originally, and whenever you first started up, and you were up at 3:00 in the morning, December 31st, going through cycle counts with your inventory, trying to figure out with your accountant what do we need to get into their hands to keep on going. How has cycle counts changed for you? Do you guys still do wall-to-wall inventory once a year and shut down operations, or how do you guys handle that?
Cycle counting has been a huge change since we've integrated into RetailOps. So now we can actually cycle count throughout the year.
Mm.
So we have the cycle counting of outside of the perfect pick, because like I
Right.
mentioned, we have some product that is not stored in perfect pick, and then we also have the cycle counting in perfect pick. So we don't have to wait until 12/31 to count our entire warehouse. So that can be done, and we have hours segmented throughout the year, estimations of how many hours it's going to take, and we can do that. One row of a perfect pick at a time, and so at 12/31 we have it completely done, and then all we have left is the reconciliation piece of it. So
Gotcha.
it's been a huge change.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so it kind of leads me to another question around cost. I know that your business is a little bit different insofar as you are buying closeouts and things of that nature. How has cost accounting changed for you potentially over time,
Cost accounting.
or understanding what your margin is in product? Has that improved, or is that really kind of about the same as it was before?
Yeah. The way that we upload the data before we receive the product has completely changed as well with the RetailOps system. So we're now able to upload the manifest
Mm-hmm.
of the product into the system, which that would include the brand, the number of SKUs, certain details that we want to make sure that the listing has in it, that our data entry can just copy and paste, along with our cost as well. So that all gets uploaded into RetailOps, and then we receive against it. So so we have a lot more robust reporting and tracking of that.
And you guys have engaged with analytics platforms as
Mm-hmm.
well to try to kind of pull together data from a lot of different disparate sources.
Right. Mm-hmm.
RetailOps provides data into what system is that for you today?
Domo.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that gives you kind of visibility into that kind of movement of inventory and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys pulled data operationally out of the system and put it into Domo for analytics as well?
We're working on that right now. Yeah, we really want to work on KPIs for every department. It's not as easy in some that it is for others, but that is one thing that we are working on with the information that we can get from RetailOps and building those reports in Domo. So that is on the horizon. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Mm-hmm. As you guys have evolved, you started out on eBay. And you started introducing more channels through Channel Advisor.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Amazon being one of those channels, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Amazon has its own kind of set of challenges, obviously, as for a retailer.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about how you've taken advantage of Amazon and Amazon Prime, and how RetailOps has supported that.
Yeah, so RetailOps has supported us through that. We're a Prime fulfilled warehouse. So, we sell Prime out of our warehouse, and RetailOps enables us to rate shop to make sure that we're getting the lowest rate. So we've been able to decrease our shipping costs, not just on Prime, but just overall across all marketplaces. Not just Amazon, but RetailOps has given us that foundation and that support to be able to launch on other marketplaces through Channel Advisor, but with the help of Channel Advisor and RetailOps being able for us to expand to. Right now we're on 16 different marketplaces.
Gotcha.